Attention passionate San Francisco 49ers fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC West and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on San Francisco 49ers' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true San Francisco 49ers fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and San Francisco 49ers fans. Let's get to the news. Alright, folks, if you're like me, you're probably sitting here thinking about how the 49ers offseason has been, and honestly, it's been a bit of a roller coaster, hasn't it? The team that's so close to the Super Bowl, with that relentless pursuit of excellence, has seen some interesting shifts, some departures, and a lot of questions about their next move. But the core remains strong, and if there's one thing the 49ers are known for, it's their ability to adapt, to find those diamonds in the rough, and to make bold moves that could define their season. And let me tell you, the buzz around the team right now is about a potential blockbuster move, one that could shake up the entire NFC West, and it's all centered around one of the league's most talented, yet controversial cornerbacks, Jaylen Ramsay. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Ramsey, the guy who's been a top-tier cornerback in the NFL for years, the guy who's known for his lockdown coverage, his swagger, and that fierce competitive edge. Yes, he's on a big contract, around $72 million over several years. But when you're talking about a player of his caliber, that kind of investment can be justified. The 49ers, as we all know, have been eyeing ways to strengthen their secondary, which has been a bit of a question mark in recent seasons, especially with some injuries and inconsistency. They want to be all in for a Super Bowl run, and if you look at their roster, it's clear that they're still trying to piece together that perfect puzzle, especially in the defensive backfield. One interesting name that's been floated around as a potential trade target is Jaylen Ramsay. And it's not just some random rumor, there's real reasoning behind this. Grant Cohen from Sports Illustrated recently pitched a pretty compelling idea. What if the 49ers made a move for Ramsey? And the fascinating part is the connection, folks. Robert Sale, the 49ers defensive coordinator, has a history with Ramsey. He coached him during Ramsey's rookie season with the Jacksonville Jaguars back in 2016. Sale was the linebackers coach for the Jaguars that year, while Gus Bradley was the head coach. And who's Gus Bradley now? That's right, he's the assistant head coach for the 49ers. So you see there's a history there, a familiarity that could make a trade more feasible. Now let's talk about why this makes so much sense. Sale, as we all know, has a knack for getting the most out of veteran cornerbacks. Remember Richard Sherman? Sale brought Sherman into the 49ers after Sherman tore his Achilles, and guess what? Sherman played some of the best football of his career that season, leading the team to a Super Bowl appearance. Then there's Jason Verrett, who was struggling with injuries but was revived under Sale's coaching, becoming a key player in their 2020 Super Bowl run. So, if Sale is back in charge of the defense, and he's familiar with Ramsey's game, it's not hard to see why the 49ers might consider making a move. And let's not forget, Ramsey is still better than Sherman was at that stage of his career, and definitely more impactful than Verrett was in 2020. Ramsey, despite some injury concerns and age, remains one of the most elite cornerbacks in the league. His ability to shut down top receivers, his physicality, his ball skills, all of that makes him a game changer. If the 49ers want to be serious contenders in 2024 and beyond, adding Ramsey could be a game changer, especially in the NFC, where every edge counts. Now, what about the logistics? Well, Cohen's idea was straightforward. Trade a late 2026 draft pick for Ramsey before other teams, like the Los Angeles Rams, have a chance to swoop in. The Rams, after all, are in a rebuilding phase, and Ramsey might be available soon, given the Dolphins' situation. And here's where the story gets even more interesting. The Miami Dolphins are expected to move Ramsey in the very near future. Mike McDaniel, their head coach, recently made some curious comments that raised eyebrows. When asked about Ramsey's future, McDaniel said, "We are focused on building the Dolphins today. Anything outside of that, any distractions, I'm not focused on." And then he added, "Personally, I don't give an expletive about what I feel." Now, that's some pretty blunt language, folks. It sounds like the Dolphins are preparing to move on, and that's where the 49ers could come in. And here's the kicker, Ramsey is still one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. Sure, he's on a hefty deal, but the 49ers have shown they're willing to pay for talent, especially when it comes to winning championships. Last year, Ramsey proved he's still at the top of his game, despite a somewhat down year for the Dolphins overall. The team struggled, but Ramsey's performance didn't dip. He's still a ball-hawking, shut-down corner, someone who can match up against the league's best receivers. And with the 49ers' pass rush and versatile defensive scheme, Ramsey could thrive even more. Now, let's talk about the potential impact of this move if it were to happen. The 49ers' secondary has been a question mark at times, especially after losing players like Emmanuel Moseley to injury and free agency. Adding Ramsey could instantly elevate that unit to elite status, giving them a real lockdown presence on the outside. It would certainly give opposing quarterbacks nightmares, knowing they'd have to deal with not only the pass rush, but also a shutdown corner of Ramsey's caliber. Plus, it would send a message to the NFC that the 49ers are serious about defending their division and making a deep playoff run. Of course, there are some hurdles. The price tag, for one, is significant. Ramsey's contract is massive, and the 49ers would have to be creative with their salary cap to make it work. They might have to eat some of Ramsey's salary or restructure some deals, but that's part of the game when you're chasing a championship. And then there's the question of assets. What would they give up? Likely just a late-round pick or a conditional future pick, which isn't too steep considering the potential impact. The team's front office has shown they're not afraid of bold moves, especially if it means bringing that extra piece to push them over the edge. As we look toward the upcoming season, the 49ers are in a prime position. They've got a solid roster, some young stars like Brock Purdy, who burst onto the scene last year and showed he's got what it takes to be a franchise quarterback. Their offensive line is arguably one of the best in the league, and their running game, led by Christian McCaffrey, is among the top. The defense, even without Ramsey, has been formidable, but adding someone like him could make them unstoppable. Remember, the 49ers are always about that next step, that extra push, and if they can secure Ramsey, it could be the move that defines their season. And don't forget, the NFC West is shaping up to be even more competitive than before. The Seahawks are improving, the Rams are trying to rebuild, and the Cardinals are in a bit of a rebuild phase themselves. The 49ers need to stay ahead, and making a bold move for Ramsey could be just what they need to solidify their dominance and set the tone for years to come. It's not just about this season, it's about establishing a dynasty, about making sure that when the playoffs roll around, they're the team everyone fears. So, what do you think? Would the 49ers really pull the trigger on a trade for Ramsey? Or do you believe they'll focus on other areas of the roster? Either way, it's clear that the team is always looking for ways to improve, to stay ahead of the curve, and to give their fans the championship-caliber team they crave. The NFL landscape is always changing, and the 49ers have the talent, the coaching, and the ambition to make some serious waves. We'll definitely be keeping a close eye on how this story develops, and I'll be here to bring you all the latest updates. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest San Francisco 49ers news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. Now, as we look ahead, it's worth considering what this move could mean in the grand scheme of things. The 49ers have always been a team that values strategic, calculated moves. Remember back in 2019, when they made those savvy trades and draft picks that built their Super Bowl roster. Or last year, when they managed to retain much of that core despite the cap challenges. It's that same mindset that makes a Ramsey trade plausible. They know the window is open, and with players like Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, and George Kittle still in their prime, they're all in on chasing more rings. And speaking of Kittle, don't forget how important the tight end has been in their offense. Purdy's emergence last year, combined with a solid offensive line, created a perfect storm for their passing game to flourish. Adding a shutdown corner like Ramsey could help balance that, giving the defense even more confidence to attack. It's all about creating a well-rounded team that can dominate in all phases of the game. The 49ers are known for their physical, relentless style of football, and Ramsey's addition would only amplify that identity. Now, I want to throw in a few more stats here to give you some perspective. Ramsey, over his career, has registered over 20 interceptions, including multiple pick sixes, and has consistently been a top 10 cornerback in the league since he entered the NFL. His coverage grades are elite, often shutting down the top receivers on opposing teams. Last season, despite injuries and team struggles, Ramsey still graded among the top corners in the league according to PFF. That kind of consistency is rare, and it's exactly what the 49ers need to push their defense from very good to historically great. But beyond just the stats and the connections, it's about the mindset. The 49ers have shown they're not afraid to make bold moves. Remember when they traded for Christian McCaffrey midseason in 2022? That was a bold statement, and it paid off. They're always looking for that edge, that X factor that can turn a good team into a championship-winning team. Ramsey, with his leadership, his talent, and his competitive fire, could be that piece. The team's culture under Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch has always been about smart, aggressive moves, and this could be the next big step. And I know some of you might be wondering about the risks. Yes, trading for Ramsey involves giving up a draft pick and absorbing his hefty contract, but the potential reward far outweighs the cost. The NFL is a league of moments, and having a player like Ramsey could be the difference in close playoff games, in high-stakes situations where every play counts. It's about stacking the deck in your favor, about making sure that when the playoffs come, you're the team everyone fears. So, as we wrap up today's deep dive, the bottom line is clear. The San Francisco 49ers are in a prime position to make a bold move that could define their future. Whether or not they pull the trigger on a Ramsey deal, it's evident that they're always thinking big, always aiming for that next level. And as fans, that's the kind of attitude we want to see: relentless, ambitious, hungry for another Super Bowl. The NFC West isn't getting any easier, and the 49ers are making sure they're prepared for whatever challenges come their way. We'll be watching closely, waiting for updates, rumors, and official moves, so stay tuned because this story isn't over yet. The next chapter could change everything. And now, San Francisco 49ers fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the San Francisco 49ers. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest San Francisco 49ers news.